Hi, beautiful souls. I'm Clara Lima, and this is Out of This World Show. My purpose is to bring the best out of the best ones. Let's evolve and elevate. What's up, my beautiful people? I'm Clara Lima, and I'm here with the one and only Kalki. This is Out of This World Show, and today we're going to be talking to Shaman and Vedic astrologer Kalki that is in this industry for a very long time. He is basically the knowledge, the wisdom, the source of all the wisdom of the universe and cosmos. And he is basically my very favorite person because he gave me a lot of great points in my personal reading that came true, a lot of predictions that came true, and a lot of insights about my life. So this is why I invited him, because I want you to have the same knowledge about how important can be Vedic astrology for understanding yourself, your talents, your strengths, your weaknesses, and how to live better life based on your astrologic placements and stuff like this. So can you tell us something more about yourself and why astrology is important for people?
Thank you so much, Clara. Thank you so much, my friend, for this invitation. I'm very honored to be in this space. Congratulations. Well, my path started when I was a child, when my father took me to the mountains in Peru to see the stars. And since I was a child, I was fascinated by the stars and the placement of, the different constellations and everything. Later on in life, I discovered that the ancient traditions, the ancient civilizations, they observed the movement of the stars, the sun, the moon, in correlation to Earth, to what was going on in humanity. So then at age 18 is when I decided to become like a monk in the yoga tradition. So I lived for 9 years in a yoga monastery, and during that time is when I got in touch with the ancient practice of Vedic astrology. So that's how I came to know that also in India they develop a great system of understanding the human behavior and the natural phenomena in connection to the astronomical transits. Not only the planets, but also the stars. And, that was the beginning of something beautiful when I did my first trip to India in 2004. But I started studying astrology back in the year 2000, so it's a little bit of time already.
Yes.
So that's how it started my path, and then over the years I've been blessed to have great teachers, in the lineage of Vedic astrology, and also over in the last 5 years is when I got in touch to the shamans in the Andes in South America, to try to put together the wisdom of what Vedic astrology teaches with the principles of shamanism in the Andes in South America. And I find it very relatable. In many ways they are very similar, And the uniqueness of the Vedic tradition is that they have kept well documented in actual writings over thousands of years, and the observation of the stars. So it's very fascinating, and when I discovered that this can be a tool to understand the self and how to move in life in a meaningful way, in an harmonious way, with nature, with humanity, with the cosmos, then is when I decided to start opening myself to share it with people. Because before I did it for myself and for a very close group of friends only. But it was around 2014, 2015, when a dear friend of mine here in Miami, she lovely pushed me to make it more to the public. So that's and that's how also we met. Remember during those years?
Yes, I remember that. That was in the spiritual store, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That spiritual store in Design District, very famous during that time. So she's the one who encouraged me to do my services to everyone, because before I was just doing it for a very close group of friends only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then later on I decided to also teach and share what I know, what I learned from my different teachers, and I have right now my school, with students who are learning also Vedic astrology and some principles of shamanism as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
Thank you.
So we spoke that we would like to talk today about love life and about finances. This is two topics that most of people want to know: how to move better in marriages, how to move better in relationships, and how to make good amount of money. For everybody, it's something else. Somebody is okay with just have a comfortable life. Somebody wants to become a billionaire. So in astrology, there is certain points that kind of have a bigger probability that you're going to make it, or smaller probability, but at the end of the day, it's up to the free will, correct? It's up to the actions. But when it comes to certain like millionaire degrees and billionaire degrees, or certain circumstances that are in the astrological charts, can you share a little bit more? For example, what is the great indicators
for prosperity?
For prosperity, like for example, what a person should follow. If you're a person who don't understand astrology and you just want to basically be successful in your career and make good living, what to look at, and how to start, how to get deep inside, basically understanding yourself, what you're predestined to do, and what is going to bring you the biggest prosperity. What is important when you have a chart, because you do need to have a birth date, you need to have an hour of your birth, you need to have a birth month and year. So all the information and place of living, place of birth, and you need to have place of birth and country of birth.
Right.
Ideally with full name, correct?
Yeah, ideally, yes.
Ideally. So all these things, they create the Vedic chart.
Correct, yes.
And if you are a person who don't understand that at all, how would you start to understand Vedic astrology to look for these important points? Let's start with a career and finances, and then we can move to the relationships.
Okay. So, very important what you mentioned about choosing one's destiny, because sometimes astrology is seen as something like it's a black and white prediction, and this is it, and there is no space for free will or choosing where to move in life. And this is something important that I learned with my teachers. At least we have 25% of free will. At least 25%.
That's scary.
The other 75%, you can say, okay, is orchestrated by the cosmological phenomena and nature. And when we awaken, and these are one of the core practices or principles in Vedic philosophy, is that when you become a conscious being, when you awaken your consciousness, then that 25% of what we call it free will can expand to 30, 40, 50, 60, 80. So when we are into the path of higher consciousness, that free will amplifies, and then we can become co-creators.
Okay.
So this is what great personalities like Jesus of Nazareth, for instance, embody, even though he was born at a certain period of time and everything, by, understanding that particular movement, probably his destiny was something else. Because he was a complete, the embodiment of divinity, we can say it, then he was not conditioned by the astronomical circumstances. So important to realize the message in Vedic astrology is not an absolute thing, it's flexible. It allows you to understand your natural contract with the cosmos, but then encourage you to use your free will, which at minimum is 25%. And then you can, expand it more when you know yourself better. Now, so that is a very important principle to understand how it develops. Now, when we are born, the full idea about how we interact with divinity is that when we are born as humans and we are out of the womb of our mother, then the first inhalation that we take is the first print that we get. And that inhalation that we take at that very moment carries, you can say, the energy, the vibration, the frequency of how the star, the sky look at that very moment. So that's why we observe where a particular planet was placed, where a particular constellation was placed, where a particular star was placed. And through the equation of all of that, over the last, in my opinion, over the last 15,000 years in the ancient India, in the Vedic tradition, they have built, you can call it a database of astronomical phenomena that create an influence. Again, it's not an absolute thing, but it's a tendency, it's a probability. So when we take our first inhalation as babies, we get all the print from that very moment that what is going on in the sky. And then we go, let's say, to the database of events in the history of humanity. So when this planet is aligned to that particular constellation, when this star is shining in this particular way, it will give a tendency, a probability in the behavior of the person who was born at that particular time. So it's in a way we use a mathematical mindset with a magical mindset. Vedic astrology is the combination of the two, magical mindset and mathematical mindset. So then, we develop a layout of the most important influence for the individual. So what are the strengths, the natural capabilities that the person have, what is naturally aligned, how the person moves in life in an harmonious way, and then also the natural challenges that will appear, because the part of the human experience is to experience those challenges also.
Yes, that's how we grow.
Exactly.
That's the only way how to grow.
Yeah. Even if we consider that, because there is some school of philosophy that says no, there is no free will, and everything that we have, in this experience as humans is already set up, which is, fine, okay. But considering that this is a very foundational principle in the Vedic tradition, we are spiritual beings. So that we are spiritual beings using this body as a vehicle for this present life. So as quantum beings, as spiritual beings, whatever name you want to assign it, at one moment in that, spiritual experience, we choose to be born as humans. So choosing to be born as human is already free will. We are choosing to be born as such.
Yes.
So even the very moment of choosing to be born as humans, that is free will, even for those who don't consider that we don't have free will here. But of course, in the Vedic tradition, in ancient civilizations such as the Inca civilization, the Egyptian civilization, the Greek civilization, the Vedic civilization, free will was a big part in consideration, how we move in life, by aligning ourselves to the stars, to the cosmos, and nature. So that is another core principle. So when someone wants to, let's say someone is completely new to Vedic astrology, or to the idea of Vedic astrology, the people should see it as a way to know himself, herself. How at least appreciate the point of view of 15,000-year-old civilization that they have compiled a huge database.
15,000 years of knowledge.
Yeah. Some people say 5,000 years. Some other scholars say, no, it's only 2,000, 3,000 years. Fine, whatever. It's a lot of time observing the stars in connection to humanity. Some value must be there.
Of course.
Some value must be there. So we should not completely disregard it. So that's how I, encourage people to see it from that point of view. These, astronomers, in ancient times, the astronomers were the astrologers because they were blending the two mindsets, the mathematical movement of the planets and the magical interpretation, of how that planetary movement or transit is creating an influence in humanity. That is a magical mindset, if you want to put it. So some value must be there. And we, at least, out of curiosity, should understand what the astronomers from ancient time we're saying, what will be our tendencies, and but of course in the path of higher consciousness, such as you, myself, many others from our friends watching this podcast or listening to this podcast also, when you are naturally inclined to the path of higher consciousness, then is a very valuable tool, very powerful tool to use it for life.
Yes.
Because it naturally awakens in you some potential that probably you intuitively knew that you had it, but it was dormant. But then, a good Vedic astrologer comes and reminds you, hey, you have this quality. Better use it, because this is a great tool that you have. And then you will say like, oh yeah, that is true. I felt at one point that I have this quality, but now this guy is confirming it to me. Let me awaken it. So it's empowering, the individual. That is the mission of a good Vedic astrologer. I'm not saying be blind on the shadow aspects. We have to also speak about the shadow aspects. But in general, it's a very beautiful way to understand the self, honoring the observation of thousands of years, sages who have connected the movements, the planetary movements, to human life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I believe?
Please.
That we become what we really believe. It's a simple,
Yes.
the most truthful mantra in the world. We become what we truly believe.
And that's exactly on point in alignment with the Vedic principles, with the Indian principles, the shamanic principles. Absolutely.
So what is the most important is the basically identity shifting. Like to believe that, okay, you're not this broken person or this, person that cannot do something. You're a person who can do anything. You're a person who is filled with great self-beliefs. And then the brain finds a way how to execute that.
Absolutely.
That's what I see on my life. Once I really believe I can do something, the door starts to open, the opportunity starts to show up. And it's nothing really that magical. It's just like the brain starts to see that, what we haven't seen before.
Yes.
Because the belief, it is like a spiritual and also logical.
Yes.
It's like a healthy mixture of that. That's what I personally observed, that people who are negative are right, and people who are positive are right.
Yes.
So it's all about how strong you are to actually stay positive, even in the worst situations.
Yes.
I feel like the delusional optimists, they win more often than the pessimists. Because the pessimists, like gravity is heavier, is actually really easy to fall, Because it's kind of like easy, because if you don't hold yourself, you just fall,
It's true. Yeah.
So if you put a little effort to rise, it's more, it takes a little more effort, but like, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So once you feel the negativity, that's what you're going to experience in your life. So it's all about, like, when you see a chart, some people, they make really bad predictions because they're not able to see the positive things. But it's also about the person that is reading the chart.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Because the person have some sort of experiences, mindset, and sometimes they're not even able to actually, even if it's in black and white, they're not able to see the good in it. So they will tell you bad prediction because they're projecting.
It's true. That's the reason why in ancient times, and this is something that even until today in India is preserved, only those who are honored and recognized as priests are the ones who can use Vedic astrology.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's not like everyone just out of the blue can become a Vedic astrologer. No. In the ancient tradition is, if you want to be recognized as a Vedic astrologer, be first a great priest.
Correct.
And being a great priest means being a great human being and being a great human being who honors divinity. That's a priest. And that's how the wisdom of Vedic astrology remained alive. It was through the priests in the ancient temples. So, and then in the last, I will say 100 years, it became more like mainstream, not necessarily the priests are the Vedic astrologers. Now it's like basically anyone who wants to learn Vedic astrology can become a Vedic astrologer, which is fine. In a way, we have to be more flexible also. But I like to consider, I like to appreciate the consideration that they have in order to be a counselor to someone, because a Vedic astrologer is basically a counselor, a coach. You have to be a good human being to yourself and in connection to divinity.
Yes.
So I remember one of the core lessons that I received many years ago from one of my teachers in Vedic astrology. And we were like a group of 15 people, 20 people receiving classes from him. And he said to all of us, there are only two people in the world that their words are fundamental in changing people's destiny.
Words, absolutely.
Words. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, there are two individuals that carry a lot of importance or value or relevance in whatever they say. They create a new reality for the individual.
Correct.
Number one, doctors.
Yes.
Whatever a doctor says to you, my God, it's like,
I don't like to go to doctors. I really, I'm a healthy human being.
Yeah. If we are healthy,
I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I do, what I do? I do my blood checks.
That's amazing. That's
and
great.
I do, the scanner that checks my health, and I'm completely healthy, and then I don't question it no more.
Good.
Because if you start to dig into your whole body chemistry, there's always going to be something
a little off.
A little off as
Yeah.
a human nature, but when people start to believe it, that's where the issue is, because it start to grow. It's the same, like...
That's why we need to have a good doctor, a good friendly doctor.
A healer.
A healer, yeah.
Healer.
Yeah.
Not a doctor.
Yeah, the healer doctor. So the importance, the words of a healer doctor can really influence people's life. And the second individual that can influence people's life is an astrologer.
Correct.
So that's why he said, be mindful on what you are sharing to people. Be thoughtful on what you are, educating people, or, when you are reading a chart, bring everything to the equation. The light, the shadow, and the potential that the individual have. Encourage the individual. Sadly, right now, because of social media, there is one aspect that focuses a lot on the shadow, and that's fine, there will be an audience for that.
And in which sense?
There are some astrologers that are focusing on a little bit more, I will say, into the calamity, chaos, dark, more emphasis into the darkness.
Because it has more views.
Yeah, it creates, sensationalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's social media negative.
It sells.
Will always, unfortunately, sell more than positive.
But as you mentioned, the reason why in ancient times a good astrologer was a good priest, and people naturally was going to the temples, and they were receiving the counseling from the priest in the temples. And remember, the conception of priest in the Vedic tradition is very different to the Abrahamic traditions. The priest in the Vedic tradition is a household man. He has a wife, kids, family. He is not like a monk type of thing. So priesthood is different in India than the Abrahamic tradition. So he's a human being who knows, the nature of humanity, the interaction between divine feminine, divine masculine, and being a good human being, being a good father, a good husband, being a good wife, because there is also some brilliant women who are Vedic astrologers. And then, naturally expanding that sense of grace and compassion and, wisdom to the community through the wisdom of Vedic astrology. So that is something important to consider, So a good Vedic astrologer will always encourage you to something that motivates you to become a better version of yourself. Mm-hmm. He is not going to deny, certain aspects that we have to work on, but he mainly is going to encourage you to become a better version by activating the natural potentials that you have.
By highlighting your potential.
Exactly. I like that word, highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that word. Yeah.
So what it means, let's start with this question. What it means to be a divine feminine and divine masculine.
Okay, this is a beautiful, because at the beginning you were mentioning about prosperity and relationships. Divine masculine and divine feminine are symbolic ways to describe two realities, two opposite realities, two opposite dimensions that they complement one each other. So let's say, for instance, these two dimensions that complement one each other, we can observe it also in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look into the horizon, we are going to see the sky and we are going to see Earth. These are two opposite dimensions, but each of them complement one each other. So also in the human brain, we have two sides, right side of the brain, left side of the brain. The right side of the brain is the magical side, and the left side of the brain is the logical or the mathematical reasoning side. Also, there is a conception in the Bible of Alpha and Omega, and then in the Chinese tradition there is a conception of Yin and Yang.
Mm-hmm.
In the Vedic tradition there is a conception of Lakshmi Narayan, or in the Tantric tradition Shiva Shakti.
Mm-hmm.
So this divine masculine and divine feminine has been observed, considered in the Andean tradition also, Pachamama, Pachatata.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in the Andean tradition and Vedic tradition and many ancient civilizations, there is always a natural appreciation for two energies, two polarities. You can call it alpha omega, positive, negative, light, shadow, day and night, left side of the brain, right side of the brain, Shiva Shakti, whatever name you want to assign it, but it's referred to two polarities. In the metaphysical or astronomical, point of view, we understood, we give a more clear definition as divine masculine and divine feminine. So these two polarities are different, but they complement one each other.
Mm-hmm.
And these two polarities are also within me and also within you, are inside of each of us. So just because I am born as a man, it doesn't mean that I don't carry the divine feminine within me.
Mm-hmm.
I also have it. Just because you're being born as a woman, it doesn't mean that you don't have the divine masculine within you. You also have it.
Mm-hmm.
But we give more predominance to the specific, to the evidence that we have, which is I was born as a man, so I need to activate more the divine masculine energy.
Okay.
You were born as a woman, as a female, so you have to activate more the divine feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
At the core, let's put it in simple words. Divine feminine represents adaptability, compassion or empathy, and femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that around the concept of femininity. So these are the three keywords that we can use for the divine feminine.
What was the first?
Adaptability.
Adaptability.
Yes.
Okay.
Adaptability. Yeah.
So like a surrender, kind of.
Yeah, to adapt to the circumstances, to
Mm-hmm.
surrendering, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the divine masculine carries three specific keywords. I mean, carry a lot, but these are the three main ones that I will describe. Protection,
Mm-hmm.
providing, ambition.
Mm-hmm.
So the visionary needs to be the man, where the family is going, where the clan, the tribe is going, what is the future of the clan, have a vision to preserve, protect, and providing also. So we carry these principles within us. We naturally carry them. But if we alterate the natural principle, let's say if I am more, if I invite in my life more the femininity side, if I invite more in the empathy, I am altering my natural role as a man. So, and when the roles alterate is when the inner clash happens and the external clash also happens. So first of all, I have to recognize that I carry these two energies within me. And then I have to recognize, okay, I choose to be born as a man, so I have to activate more the divine masculine energy. If we want to go deep into even, molecular side, even the DNA carry this information. That's why we have also, in science, we speak about, there is a memory in the DNA also. And within the DNA, we have the memory from our mother's side and from our father's side, because we carry the DNA from mom and dad. So even at the DNA structure, we carry the principle, the masculine principle and the feminine principle, mom and dad. Or, dad and mom in this case, in the order. So, number one is recognizing that we carry these two energies within. Number two, we have to give priority to the actual embodiment that we have chosen. Okay, you can say, okay, but in life later on, I decided to be in a different version of myself. Then fine, honor it, but also you have to be mindful that you have chosen your natural biological body, so you have to honor that too. Then, once you recognize the more prevalence energy that you need to activate in your life, then recognize the same in your beloved or the person who is in front of you. And you have to accommodate to give the space to that person to unfold that nature. And here is when the interaction of the polarities, of the two polarities, they have to complement one each other. The out of balance energy happens when they start clashing. They see more differences, and then the polarization grows, and then the division happens. But when we understand that we are different, but we complement one each other to create a more harmonious life, then is when, goodness, well-being, satisfaction, joy happens, manifest. But if we just recognize that we are different for the sake of polarizing us and dividing us, then, inner collapse happens and external collapse happens.
Correct. So that happens when people are not compatible, for example.
Yeah.
Also, people go through different cycles in life.
Yes,
they transform differently.
It's true, yes.
One person, or they grow apart, different directions, or one person has a different idea about relationships.
Yeah.
It's great to always discuss, at the beginning, and kind of like I go of a flow, of a vibe with whatever partnership I'm going into, not just romantic. I mean, even like a business partnership,
right?
Whatever. It's important to kind of like sense the natural flow.
Yes.
And observe if it works, because the space around you shows, which energy you two manifest, or you three or you four manifest, like in any kind of like friendships or partnerships, marriage. Yeah. Like marriage does a whole different conversation, but when it comes to partnering with some people, every single connection brings something different, which is important. Like, I believe that people can have a completely different experience with another person than with a person they clash. Some person for them is a blessing, some person for them can be a lesson.
Yes.
And like the dynamics really changes. Like every person brings a different side.
Absolutely.
Out of a different person. And for example, when two people are bringing, explain me from astrological point, when two people bring the best out of each other and when people bring the worst out of each other.
Yes.
Why is it like that?
Yeah,
so, because it happens, right?
Yeah,
sometimes.
It happens. Yeah, it's part of our human experience. So and here is because I was mentioning to you, first recognizing within, then recognizing which is more prevalent in me. In my case, it's more masculine, so I activate more the masculine. In your case, feminine, so you activate more the feminine. And then the next one is related to what you just asked. Is, that person has something that fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
When we recognize that, there are two choices at that very moment. The first choice, so she have something that I don't have, that's why I need him, her. That is one path. The second path is that person has something special that I also have, but I choose to honor that energy that I have through him, through her. So that second option is complementary, is when you complement. It's not, the first one comes out of lacking. Oh, she has something that is so fascinating that I don't have it.
So that's toxic.
That is toxic. That is because the principle of unity is based on lacking.
Correct.
Comes from the sense of he have something that I don't have. I want that. Lacking, obsession, or what you can call it, toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
But the second option is, oh, that person have that something special that I also have it, but I choose to honor it through that person. So and then when you choose to move in life, through that second path, that I recognize that beautiful quality that you have, which is within me, but I want to honor it through you. So let's move in life honoring one each other in that way. That is complement. In Quechua language, in the indigenous language of the Andes, we call that Yanantim. In Sanskrit, you can call that rasa, or you can call that bhakti also. That's different Sanskrit names.
Mm-hmm.
For that union that is complementing, is not out of lacking. So 95% of the relationships in society, in Western society, or in the world, are based out of lacking.
Really?
I mean, that is my statistics, when I do analysis, yeah. So when I do compatibilities chart analysis and all of that, in my 20 plus years in doing it, 95% of people are more inclined into the lacking. I'm with this person because he's someone special, he has something that I don't have. No, you are able to observe it, appreciate it, because it's within you. That quality that fascinates you about that person is within you, but you are now choosing to honor it through that person. And then when you see it in that way, so it's not like I'm lacking something. I have that within me, but I want to appreciate it. I want to honor it through that person. And happens that the other person thinks the same about you. And that's when in the ancient practice of sacred sexuality in Tantra, that's the movement of the rising serpent that, in ancient books is referred like that. Because it's a dynamic of two polarities that interact. They serve one each other, but they continue to bright, and they continue to serve, and they continue to complement and grow. It's dynamic and positive and uplifting. Of course, we have to have our shadow side as well, because we are humans, and when the shadow comes, we go back to the basic, to the core principle of, I found in you something so special that is within me. I want to continue honoring that. So let's move ahead of this situation, shade or dark or shadow situation, whatever you want to call it, or negative situation, whatever as name you want to give it. But it's important to understand that the moment that we are, quote unquote, falling in love or feeling attracted to someone, it's important to realize that the reason why I'm feeling attracted to that person is because that quality is also within me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So the key is to basically keep working on yourself until you're a version that actually feels good in your own presence. You feels comfortable, and you love who you are, with your good and with your bad.
Yes.
And at the end, when you achieve to be close to this, then some sort of not looking, but attracting the right person can start to happen, correct?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you should not be looking for anything. The right person, looking for anything, like all this, like you will attract it. You know, everybody,
Yes.
the vibration, when it happens, even through the most absurd situation.
Yeah.
You know, that's the law of the universe. When God wants something, He will make it happen.
And also remember, if you are looking for something,
It's a lack.
Is a lacking.
It's a lack.
Coming from the scarcity.
Right. It's a lack. Yes.
But the second option is, I have this within me. I know who I am. Start by integrating the idea, even if you don't believe in the idea of God, but I will invite you to believe in at least on the principles of nature.
Mm-hmm.
You carry the DNA of your mother, you carry the DNA of your father.
Mm-hmm.
Symbolically speaking, the DNA of the mother, the mother is the one that nurtures. You know, when we were born, mom was nurturing us. Mom was feeding us in the womb and also external. You know, because when we were in the womb, through the umbilical cord, we were, being nurtured. Mom was nurturing us. And then when we were born, mom was nurturing us, in the physical body, externally, and through breastfeeding and all of that. So the nurturing aspect, the adaptability aspect that we spoke, the compassionate aspect, the femininity aspect is represented in the archetype of the mother.
Okay.
In nature is reflected to Mother Earth, or to Earth, to nature. Because everything that we are eating, breathing, drinking comes from Earth. The apples that we love come from Earth. The water that we drink comes from Earth. So who is nurturing us? Mother Earth.
Correct.
So the female principle, you can transfer it to nature, to Mother Earth. Then second principle, the father principle. The father is the one who provides the structure. The structure in nature, we see it daytime, nighttime. It gives us a structure to work during daytime and to rest during nighttime. It organizes our flow as humans.
It should be the opposite,
Yeah.
actually. I like to be creative at night. It's when the pieces.
Because it's when you implement more the mystical side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there is a reason why.
Yes.
Yeah, the mystical side works best at night.
Yeah.
So the creative doing things works best at day. That's why we are recording during daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that regard, the masculine principle is connected to the cosmos, to the sky, to the stars. So even if you don't believe in the idea of God, appreciate the polarity of the divine feminine or the feminine into nature and the divine masculine, the idea of the masculine energy through the cosmos. So, because you have these two energies translated from your DNA, mom and dad, you can appreciate yourself and see yourself as the favorite, loving child of nature and the cosmos. Start with it. And by you appreciating yourself as the loving child of the cosmos and nature, naturally shift that reality. Because you have come to this earth because of love.
Yes.
And your life is being moved because of love. Hey, are you eating every day? Yes. Are you drinking every day? Yes. So nature loves you. Divine feminine loves you.
True.
Are you resting? Are you sleeping at night? Are you having activities during daytime? Then Father Cosmos loves you. So you are the favorite child. Oh, but things are not going in the way that I am intending. Fine. But first recognize that you are the loving child of nature and the cosmos. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then when you integrate that, then naturally you empower yourself. And when you empower yourself, you say, okay, so there is more. Of course, there is more. Now let me understand the movement of the moon. Now let me understand the movement of Jupiter. Now let me understand the movement of the different constellations. So you naturally empower yourself by knowing more things about your connection to nature. This is how, you know, in the ancient traditions they did it. And it's a fascinating and very practical tool. I've seen it, you know, in the life of my friends and clients when we have sessions, you know, and we share the space to discuss the natural potentials that they have, and just I'm reminding them, you know, their potentials. They get inspired, you know. I can say I have great friends and clients such as you know, you yourself, who look for me, call me, and, you know, we have sessions and private sessions because they find really valuable information and motivation.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you always you do it very soft way, you know. You're exactly the type of person that should be doing these type of activities like reading, because you see it from a very wise point of view. You don't do any negative predictions or scarcity or implementing fears in people, you know. And that's great, because again, you're what you believe. So if you believe it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be bad. If you believe it's gonna be good, then you going to attract the good. It's the most simple life rule ever.
Right. Yeah.
What you believe, you will manifest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the core of it, like, it's not that easy, because sometimes people, they have a deep-rooted beliefs of non-worthiness, low self-esteem, all these type of things that can come from childhood.
Right.
It can come even through some situations where people forget about it, they don't realize it, you know. But everybody is sensitive on a different level, like human sensitivity. Some people are more sensitive, some people are less sensitive, some people are more tough. So nothing should be judged, because we are what we are, and every level of sensitivity should be accepted and then work from where you are. Yeah,
absolutely.
And heal yourself, and then start to create new beliefs, because I know from my experience that you can become whatever you really believe, and then once you work on it, then God or universe will start to give you more blessings, more presents, and then also you will start to see more opportunities that you never thought you're gonna be presented to, something you would never thought you will be doing. You know, sometimes something chooses you.
Exactly.
And you have to follow the lead of the universe, because the human mind is so limited. Our brain is like, okay, we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, is great, but we are here living in this whole galaxy. So what do we really know?
Yeah, we can know great things that inspire us, or also we can know things that, you know, putting ourselves down, you know. Yeah. So, but, you know, even modern sciences has agreed that the rewiring of the neural patterns in humans, it's, you know, it's a whole chapter of being fascinated, because what you are speaking, you know, what you believe about yourself is basically the way that you are rewiring your neurological paths. And happens that in the Vedic tradition and in the Indian tradition, and I speak the 2 lineages because, you know, I dedicated a lot of my life into these 2 lineages. Through the activation of meditations in action / rituals, they modify the subconscious memory that is the one, quote unquote, sabotaging our potential. So, for instance, in the Vedic tradition, they use meditation in action, such as rituals, mantras. Through that activity, you are rewiring a tendency that is not allowing you to shine, let's say.
Can you explain it one more time?
Yeah. So basically, the subconscious can, some painful event happen when a person is a child. And that creates a memory that, you know, of lacking, or, you know, or lacking love, let's say, no. And then that person, because the subconscious is not moved by reason, is moved by emotion. So the person will continue to move in life with that impression when that person was a child. And every time that something similar, some similar emotion happens when he's growing up, then that emotional memory is going to trigger in the individual, from the subconscious level, the lacking vibration, the lacking reality, the lacking of. So in the Vedic tradition, we modify that through rituals. Basically, a ritual is a meditation in action. One big part of the meditation in action are mantras, because through mantras, to some vibration, we can change the frequency, the pattern of the subconscious.
What is a good mantra?
A really universal, great, awesome mantra, which is a big yes, a big affirmation, a big source of wisdom, is Om. Yeah.
Can we do that?
Of course we can do it.
How do you do that? Can you show people how to do it properly, the right way?
Oh, the right way is
The
a
right
little
way.
complex, but I will say it in a friendly way that everyone can do it.
Okay.
So just like where we are, for instance, we can be sitting in our chair, then we put our hands in this way, like connecting the fingertips like this. Yeah, the fingertips like this or like that.
I thought we were gonna do the...
Oh no, but that carries different symbolisms. The shadow,
I know they do. Drake always shows this on the camera.
that is, for the lineage that he belongs, that is his thing.
Right.
But in the Vedic tradition, the upper triangle represents the divine masculine and the lower side triangle represents the divine feminine.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
let's do that.
Yeah, so you can do like that or like this, or simply like this also.
Okay.
The right side in the right hand represents the divine masculine, the left hand represents the divine feminine. So you can use the two as the union of the two dimensions. The fingertips are good also because it carries, some electrofrequency there. But anyways, let's do it like this. And then
I already feel like I'm meditating.
yeah, because we have many nerve points in the palm of the hand and also in the feet. So when we do this, naturally it's like a new reality in the body is going on. So and then close your eyes and listen to the heartbeat, your natural heartbeat. Maybe it's a little slow, maybe it's too high, maybe it's regular, or maybe you are not listening at all. But then you are going to synchronize it with your breathing. So inhale. Keep the air contained for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Exhale for 3 seconds. Be there. Do not exhale for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And then inhale again for 3 seconds. Keep the air retained for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And then exhale for 3 seconds. And then remain like the emptiness that you have done for 2 seconds. Inhale again. Now you say, oh. So like that. Something simple like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So the breathing is important. From the astrological point of view, the breathing is connected to Saturn. And in the yoga tradition, we say that when you master the breathing, you master life. In the Vedic astrology, we say the moment that you understand Saturn is when you understand life also. Because Saturn is the key denominator for success in life. In tropical...
Saturn means success?
Yes,
even in the chart.
of course.
So where your Saturn is placed, this is your highest probability to have success.
Yeah, that is the tools that you must use in order to be successful in life.
What means Saturn in 5th house?
Saturn in the 5th house. So the 5th house, let's explain to our friends. The 5th house is connected to productivity, projects, the things that we love to do, the things that we enjoy to do. It is also considered to be, if not the most bright house of all, is at least one of the top two houses, more important, bright, shining, positive houses.
5th house?
Yeah, the 5th house and the 9th house.
Wow.
Yes.
So the 9th house. Okay, so let's go from the 1st house to the 12th house. That's maybe something better right now because we started off the 5th. But yeah, let's continue with the 5th and
let's
then
continue
just
with the 5th.
Yeah.
So the 5th house basically represents everything that is positive for you, how life is going to treat you well. So that's why it is connected to having children, having projects, traveling, enjoying life,
Mm-hmm.
your lovers,
Mm-hmm.
the joy of life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So when Saturn is in the 5th, it says that for you, in order to enjoy life, you need to have a plan of action.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a plan A, even if it's a simple plan of action. Let's say, okay, for me, in order to have a great night with my beloved, I am organizing the visit of a restaurant. I'm going to be dressed in this way, and I'm going to use this perfume, and we are going to talk about this. Like a short plan of action.
Mm-hmm.
So when Saturn sees that you are having a plan of action, he will bless you. But if you have Saturn in the 5th, and you are with the mentality of, oh, let's go with the flow and let's see what comes.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn doesn't like that energy so much.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn wants to see you that you at least have a structure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And enjoyment.
Yeah. In the direction of enjoying life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is, and also when a project is given to you, you can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another great thing of Saturn in the 5th. So
what about Saturn in the 10th?
Saturn in the 10th, the initial 33 years of life, Saturn in the 10th is going to influence you that in order to be successful, you need to work hard. But after 30 years of age, 33 years of age, it shifts that, you can be highly productive with some effort, but you don't have to sacrifice yourself so much. So it's the people that are dedicated, passionate, dedicated in doing great things for themselves, in succeeding in life and everything, in moving ahead, specifically in the career side. That's a very general view. Because remember, in Vedic astrology, we also consider the star that is injecting its energy into Saturn, the nakshatra.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we consider. It is important, Saturn in the 5th, Saturn in the 10th, but more important in Vedic astrology for us is more important to see what star is injecting its energy into Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key to understand the secrets of Saturn for that person.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say, for instance, if Saturn is in the 10th and Saturn is infused with the energy of the star Rohini, which is nearby the Pleiades, that person will be a deal maker like no one. That
Mm-hmm.
person will be a sharp deal maker. He will have the intuition to recognize where the opportunity is.
Mm-hmm.
And he will put his intention into opening the proper doors and closing the doors that don't work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Very different that if Saturn is in the 10th and let's say is in Maga and the Maga constellation is feeding its energy. So he needs to align to the principle of being a good leader, generous leader, kind leader, someone who walks in life very kindly, that he should remain humble under any circumstance. The flavor is different. So that's why in Vedic astrology is a multi-layer analysis, and it provides a deeper meaning than traditional tropical astrology.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you as someone who started into astrology with tropical astrology, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 2000, when I started studying with my first teacher, tropical astrology, and for my initial 4 years
Mm-hmm.
of studying astrology was tropical astrology. So I honor it. But I also, you know, my point of view is that, you know, Vedic astrology is more detailed.
It's more detailed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah.
also has different, completely different placements, correct?
Yeah, not completely different, slightly different.
24 degrees, is it?
Around 21 degrees.
21 degrees?
Yeah. 21. Some other calculations is 15 degrees because
Mhm.
we use a different variety of calculations for that. But the one thing that doesn't move are the interactions between the stars and the planets. That doesn't change.
Okay.
That doesn't change.
That's good to know. So
Yeah.
it's always kind of like similar, it's just in different placements.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But the alignment of the star with the planet remains the same.
Okay, that's interesting to
Yeah,
know.
what you witness in the sky aligned with the star and the planet remains the same.
Okay.
It might change this quote unquote sign, tropical sign, it might change quote unquote the house, but what doesn't change is the connection of the star with the planet.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the houses, of course, as you mentioned, you know, they represent the cosmic body. The house 1, you know, house 1 represents the head, house 12 represents the feet, so all the other houses in between represents each part of the body.
Okay.
So and they have, of course, different meaning, you know.
So let's say if a woman or a man has a Venus in the first house, that means that they're physically very beautiful.
His face is going to be charming, attractive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense because when I look at charts as well of my friends,
Yeah.
I do mostly like the tropical. The Vedic is, I'm not there yet, but I do the tropical,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very accurate.
Yeah.
It's so accurate. It's like map of life.
Yeah.
Such a accurate
There is value in
thing.
there. There is
Mhm.
absolutely value, you know. Yeah.
And a question: how a person activates prosperity? How they know where they're gonna prosper and where they're gonna probably lose?
So going back to these principles that we were talking, divine masculine, divine feminine, prosperity is directly connected to our relationship with divine masculine and divine feminine embodied in the human interaction, meaning our relationship with father and our relationship with mother. The productivity side of our life is connected to our connection to father, and our saving capacity is connected to mother. When we become productive, when we generate money, but we are not capable of saving it, then we have to look into our relationship with our mother. And when we are good on saving but not so much producing, we have to look into our dynamic with our father. In general, that's a. So,
Okay, that's interesting. So one person has the ability to make money,
mhm.
but
Not saving
not
it.
saving, that's a problem in the relationship with mother.
Yes, with the mother, yes.
And one person is good in saving but cannot make much,
Mhm.
that's a problem with the father.
Exactly. And when the connection with mom and dad is good, healthy, and by healthy sometimes it can be neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral, fine. That's
Mhm.
healthy. If it's friendly and more, that's a plus. But at least should be to the level of neutrality. So, in that regard, you know, how we relate with our mother and father is the principles of productivity. What I told you about Saturn. Saturn represents our success, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's divine masculine energy. So the idea of the divine masculine through Saturn represents our productivity.
So that's where we can be productive, basically. Where is Saturn placed?
Exactly. And
Okay.
then the Venus, how to save it. You save for what? To enjoy life.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the principle of Venus, if you want to see it in the chart. Of course, if you can extend it by observing the 4th house, which is the mother. In Vedic astrology, we observe the 9th house, which is the father. In tropical astrology, we observe the 10th house, which is the father, right?
10 house is a father?
In tropical astrology,
Okay.
yes. In Vedic astrology, is the 9th house.
Mm-hmm.
So we see our interaction with the 4th house, 9th house, or tropical astrology, 10th house. And then, you know, through that, we can get to understand what to activate in order to be prosperous. But the initial principle of prosperity needs to be, I am at peace and I honor my mom. I am at peace and I honor my dad. So when I do that, naturally these two principles of productivity and saving, boom, are going to be present to be successful in life, you know, in the area of finances. Yeah.
Fake healing relationship with the family is the key.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very truthful statement.
Yeah.
And a very beautiful statement, because a dear one woman that I really respect, she's a healer as well. She told me a thing that I really she told me like a very important key information about life that was so beautiful. She told me, you know what, like we used to be so poor with my husband, and then when I started to operate out of my heart, when I healed the relationship within our family, we started to make $3 million a month.
Beautiful.
Because we all healed.
Right.
So we had like a strong core.
Right.
And strong ability, healthy energy to attract all the blessings.
Yeah. That's you know, naturally when you honor the energy of the father and the mother, the divine masculine, divine principle embodied through the father and mother, which at the end is the DNA that we carry within.
Yeah.
Because when we are in not an harmonious relationship with each of them, at the end is fighting with our own DNA.
Yeah.
So, and in Vedic astrology, we see the prosperity side through Saturn, through Venus, also through Jupiter, of course, you know? And that's how we grow and how we do our best ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that principle is also connected to the romantic principle.
Healing the relationships.
Yeah.
So
but healing is important. But right after you cross the 51% of healing, then empower yourself. Empower yourself. So, because sometimes also, quote unquote, healing can become a little bit addictive.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because some people use the healing, and they can be like a hamster.
Yeah.
Like never-ending healing processes.
Never-ending healing, yeah.
Yeah, but once you cross the 51% of healing, then you can start empowering yourself.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and now you say, you can ask, but how do I know if I'm 51% ahead of the game in healing myself? Number one, you recognize it that you have that issue? Yes. Okay, good. Are you taking steps to address that issue? Yes. Good. That's 51%.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's great. That's
and
amazing.
And then you empower yourself.
And for everybody, it means something else. That's important to say, for sometimes it can be one moment when the healing happens.
It's seconds.
It's 1 second. Yeah, that's
second.
how it happened to me before when I was, it was the 4th of July. I remember 3rd of July. It was 3rd of July, 2020. I was trying to stop drinking for 15 years. Literally, I always knew it's wrong. And my higher self always told me, don't do that. I always felt guilty drinking my entire life until I stopped. And I just tried to find so many ways how to stop. And Nothing never worked. The only thing that worked was actually my Jupiter transit that came through, because it was my Jupiter transit that time. It was just starting.
Great.
And you know what? It just left in seconds, and I never drank again. I didn't do anything special. There was the decision.
Yes.
It was one decision. When I say it's over, it's done for me.
Transformation happens in a second.
Exactly, it happens in a second, and then you're never the same person.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful too.
Yes.
This is the gift of life, you know.
Yeah.
That there is a possibility and there is a probability that you will be healed. That everybody will be healed if they keep believing. Though you have to believe. If you don't believe, it will not happen. If you believe, it will happen.
Yeah, and that also comes with some evidences, like for instance, recognizing what is the root cause, taking action to address it. Of course, in taking action to address it is receiving counseling, professional help, professional assistance, coaching, whatever you want to call it, and then continuing with the steps. But then once you are, that is a 51%. Then you can start empowering yourself. Like you just said, I recognize that in this very second I transform my life, and I empower myself because I choose not to drink because I see a better version of myself without the necessity of drinking, like for instance, like in the example that you were mentioning. So then you are empowering yourself. You don't need to go to the healing part. You already succeeded on that. So you now continue to empower. And when you empower yourself, naturally creates a sense of vision in your life. A greater vision about your new version, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
So that's basically, a good priest, a good shaman is going to take you to that destination. A not so good shaman, a not so good priest, a not so good Vedic astrologer is going to keep you into the healing.
True. It's a never-ending cycle.
A never-ending cycle.
There's billions of methods, or it's never-ending, and the most important is to start from where we are, what we are grateful for, where we got already, what we overcame. It's important to realize that instead of still thinking something is wrong with us. That's not healthy. Like if person has an issue, it's a human nature, and
it's part of the human.
It's part
contract.
of the human. It's part of the soul growth.
Yeah.
If you have no problems, then you probably are not truthful to yourself. If you're a perfect human being, everybody has some flaws they need to work on.
That's the beauty of the human experience.
But that's the beauty of that. Yes.
Yeah, we have flaws.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Kalki. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers? What is your last advice that you would want to give to people?
I would like to give as a gift, an activation. Like we spoke about rituals in action, So one activation that I like to share with the audience is integrating and you recognizing your connection to nature and the cosmos. So one way that we do it, in Sanskrit we call it Sankalpa. In Quechua we call it John Kankani. In the Vedic tradition it is done in this way. In the Andean tradition it's done this way or this way. I integrate both lineages and also the Western lineage, which is tapping. So I like to do it this way, tapping into the chest.
Oh, I heard the tapping.
The tapping, yes, exactly.
Here's the emotion.
Here is the thymus. The thymus is here, and the thymus segregate T cells. So when we tap into the thymus, the T cells are going to be stimulated to be generated.
Okay.
So when we tap like this and we say an affirmation about our reality.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
some magic going on right now.
Yeah. So let's do it this way. Like for instance, in my case, you can repeat with me. We say, I.
You know what it reminded me?
What? What is that?
Wolf of the Wall Street. You remember?
Oh, Wolf of the Wall Street. Yeah. When he was talking,
they were doing that, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, good point.
Maybe they knew some spiritual tricks.
All of them use it.
All of them use it. I
All
know
of them
that.
use it.
Of course, it's a stock market.
Yeah, and also, JP Morgan, he said, millionaires don't use astrologers.
Billionaires do.
Billionaires do.
Yes, exactly.
That's just, JP Morgan. Okay.
Exactly. So let's do that. Let's do that
Okay.
magic.
So repeat after me. I, your full name,
Clara Lima,
here and now,
here and now,
honor and activate
honor and activate
my divine nature.
my divine nature.
I am the child
I am the child
of Mother Nature
of Mother Nature
and the cosmos.
and the cosmos.
So be it.
So be it.
Take a deep inhale. And exhale, release hands to the side. Just like that. By honoring that, activating your higher self in connection to nature and the cosmos, then you can start moving life in a very different way, in a very different frequency, in a very different mindset. So that's a gift that I would like to give it to the
Thank you
audience.
so much.
Very, very much
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank
Again,
you.
Clara.
Can you please share your social media where people can find you and book session with you?
Sure.
On the camera.
I'm active in Instagram. My Instagram account is at Kalki Das Official, and in there you will be able to book a session with me. And if you name the podcast, I can extend an extra discount to you. So it's a 1 hour session via Zoom, and I also facilitate events in Miami or any other cities when I am invited. And I also organize retreats to India and to Peru. And soon I will be launching 2025 classes for teaching Vedic astrology and shamanism. So connect with me through my social media at Kalki Das Official on Instagram.
Can you spell that, please, for them?
Yes, Kalki is Kalki, Kalki, and then Das Das, Kalki Das, and then official. So, and also through the probably in the video we will put the link also,
Yes,
right? So,
of course.
and if you mention the podcast, I will be more than honored to assist you and provide you an extra discount
Okay.
for the viewers.
Thank you
and
so
listeners.
much. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So, thank you so much for watching Out of This World show. We're here with the one and only Kalki, and it was honor to interview him today. I hope, guys, you took so many gems, so many beautiful affirmations, mantras, and I feel like I'm ready to take off right now to the galaxy. So, follow me at the Clara Lima on Instagram, and also follow the show Out of This World show on Instagram. So, thank you so much for watching. We see you soon. Bye.